Alright, so today I'm gonna kind of piggyback off what I said in the last video, talking about how money can't buy happiness, but it can fund a lifestyle that makes you happy. So, piggybacking off that, like I said, the idea of being a billionaire, or like a millionaire, being just, what I guess society deems as being rich or wealthy, to me, is overrated. And it's not for the reason you think. So a lot of people, they would love to be billionaires and millionaires. I mean, for me, that would be nice. That'd be great, man. Having all that money. But, some people do acknowledge the downsides. A friend of mine, he says that if he was like a billionaire, a millionaire, just wealthy, I have to say wealthy, he probably wouldn't tell anybody because he believes it would attract fake friends and women would only want to be with him for his money. And that's true. I agree. I think we can all agree that's true. But for me, it goes a little bit further than that. The reason why I wouldn't stress so much about being a billionaire or millionaire is because, well, it's unrealistic. I don't think people realize, in spite of all these get-rich-quick schemes that you hear about, how long it actually takes to become a millionaire or a billionaire or whatever. Because, I did some research, and that takes quite a few years. Unless you're like in tech, even that takes a long time. So they don't take into account the amount of years it takes to become a billionaire. Also, these get-rich-quick schemes, also, I don't think those work at all. From my perspective, I think the fastest way to become a billionaire or millionaire is to be born into a family of those people. And some people think that, you could just marry someone who's already well off, who's a billionaire, but if you're just born into a family already, you don't have to worry about things like courtship. Maybe they break up with you, or maybe they have you sign a prenup before you get married. And if you do get married, you can get divorced, and who knows, you might not win as much money as you want. So in my opinion, being born into a wealthy family is like the most surefire, foolproof way of growing up rich. Now, speaking from my own perspective, chasing wealth is detrimental. Like I said, it takes years, and it's unrealistic. So instead of chasing wealth, I think people should chase purpose. For me, my purpose is filmmaking. I'm not trying to become a billionaire, a millionaire from it. I mean, if I do, that's great. But first, I got to get it started. I got to get the company going. I got to make the films. I got to write the scripts. All that has to happen first. So right now, I'm just focusing on the process and fulfilling my purpose. And a lot of people, don't take that into account either. They just think about the money when it comes to becoming a billionaire. But those billionaires, millionaires, odds are they had some kind of purpose first. They found what they had, what their purpose was, how they could contribute to society. I guess Bill Gates, he was a computer guy. Goes men who own like car companies, cars was their thing. Mark Zuckerberg, the internet or tech or whatever, his thing. So you got to find your purpose first, and the money will follow. Now, for me personally, I don't care if I'm a billionaire or millionaire or not. If I am making money doing what I want to do, and it can fund my lifestyle, I can use that money to raise a family, and just live the lifestyle I want to live. Great, doesn't matter if I'm a billionaire or a millionaire or not. But like I said, some people don't realize that they just want the money. They have to find their purpose, and they have to find a process. And you shouldn't worry so much about the result. For me, fitness. I work out a lot. Well, sort of. 3 days a week, maybe 4. And I'm not worrying about how my body's going to look. I'm not worried about the destination. It's, like I said, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey. In this case, it's not about the result. It's about the process. You fall in love with the process, you can get the result. And that should apply to purpose as well. You find your purpose and you just go about doing what you can to accomplish your goal. And I used to, think like other people about, being rich and famous. Personally, I think fame is overrated because, you can just say goodbye to privacy. When I was working in Hollywood doing acting here and there, I wanted to be like I guess you could say I fell for that trap of, wanting to be a celebrity, walking in somewhere, people know my name, I'd have to go like leave the country to find someone who didn't know who I was, and I'd have money at my beck and call. It's hot out here today, but the lighting is incredible. And then that wasn't going the way I wanted it to, and I realized that I didn't want to live in Los Angeles anymore, and I didn't have to, honestly. So I left, and I just forgot all about that. Now I'm just focusing on my purpose, and I think other people should do that too, because they'll also be a lot happier. Now, piggybacking off that, I'm actually not that disappointed or, feeling sorry for myself or pitying myself. It's not because of pride, it's because I set realistic goals for myself. And I think a lot of people fail to do that. They don't set realistic goals, whether it's for their finances or for their bodies or whatever. And when they don't reach those unrealistic goals, they feel disappointed in themselves, they get depressed, and they might become discouraged. So, and I don't have life all figured out, obviously, but I recommend that you just set a realistic goal for yourself. I think I may have recommended this book either in the last video or the video before, but it's called The One Thing. And just focus on your one thing and, find your purpose, and all the good things like money or, whatever else you want, that'll come with it. But, you got to find your purpose first. So the point of this video is to tell you that don't chase wealth, chase purpose. That's what I'm doing, and it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work. It's going to work. So that's what I recommend to y'all who are watching. And speaking of watching, thank you for watching. And enjoy the rest of your day.